Alright, how's everybody doing out there in Math Magic Land? This is Mr. Muscarella coming at you, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at recognizing perfect squared trinomials. That's right, how to take a trinomial and go, hey, that's just not any old trinomial, but it's a perfect squared trinomial. So, let me show you how to do this. First, you are going to have to know some math patterns. There are the first 10 perfect squares right there for you. You should know them, love them, and have them memorized because they're going to make your life a lot easier. And you have to understand that not only is 10 squared 100, but you have to also understand that when you take the square root of 100, you get back to 10. So you've got to be able to go in both directions in this chart here. Now the same thing holds true if you're taking a look at maybe something from one of these other columns here. And now take a look at this particular column. Notice all of the exponents here in the squared column, they're all 6. 4x to the 6, 9x to the 6, every single one of those in the squared column is a 6. And if you look at the n column, all of these exponents are all going to be 3's. So one of the things you want to understand about that relationship, like how do you go from 3 to 6? Well, if you have x cubed, and I'm just going to write the x cubed part, and if you square that, remember your exponent rules, you're going to multiply those together. So 3 times 2, of course, gives you 6. So that's why all of these have the 6 power of it. But you've got to understand also how to go backwards, how to go the other way. So if you took the square root of x to the 6, now when you square root something, that's the same thing as taking that and raising it to the 1/2 power. And again, if you remember your exponent rules, you would simply multiply these two together, 6 times 1/2. So you'd have 6 over 2, which you know is just going to be x cubed. All right, so that is something that is going to come in very handy when you're working with perfect square trinomials. You should know how to recognize a perfect square number. That's right. There are 2 formulas right here for you to memorize. Know them, love them, put them in your memory banks. Now, both of these patterns right here are perfect square trinomials. So this first piece right here, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, is a perfect square trinomial, as is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. The only difference in these two is you have a plus here or a minus there. Now notice when you write it as a plus b, the quantity squared, that symbol, the plus, goes along with the same thing that's in here as well as the minus. So when you look at your perfect square trinomial, that's going to tell you which symbol should go between the a and the b terms before you square that quantity. Now let's just go ahead and make a little bit more sense of all this when we take a look at our 4 examples. Check it out. The way that I teach this, here's what I want you to do. Just take the square root of the first term, x squared. So the square root of x squared is just going to be x. When you square root your last term, square root of 25, that is just going to be 5. Now in between the x squared and the 10x is a plus sign, so that's going to tell me that this term is going to be plus x plus 5. Now we're going to go ahead and square it, but this is how you check that, because these two terms right here, you're going to multiply those together. All right, and that gives you 5x. Now if we double 5x, 2 times 5x, that gives us 10x, which, what? Look at that, check it out, does match our middle term. So you want to make sure that it matches your middle term. So you multiply the two perfect squares roots together, x and 5, and then double it. And that's what that times 2 is. So when you look at this middle term right here, this 2ab, that's essentially what we just did. We're just checking that to make sure that it works. Now let's take a look at example number 2. I'm throwing a monkey wrench at you in this one because when you first look at this, check it out. 4x squared, perfect square. 36, also a perfect square. So a lot of people just want to go to this and go, hey, well that's just going to be 2x. Square root of 36 is 6. I've got a minus right by the 24x, so that would be this is how you'd rewrite it, just 2x minus 6 squared. But no, that's not correct. So stop it right there. Huge error, because if you notice the 2 and the 6, you could also factor out a number there. But wait, if you look at your original problem, you could have done your factoring there, because the first rule of factoring is what? Take out the GCF. That's right. So when we factor out the 4, we are left with 4 times the quantity x squared minus 6x plus 9. Now if I look right in here at the x squared minus 6x plus 9, again, my First term is a perfect square, so when I square root that, I will get x. 9 is a perfect square, so when I square root that, I will get 3. The symbol in between the x squared and the 6x, that's a minus, so that's going to go there. Now let me check this. If I multiply x times negative 3 together, I have negative 3x. If I double that, do I get negative 6x? Yes, I do. Cool. So there we go. Common mistake right here. Do not forget to take that GCF that you just found and write that there as well. So the correct answer for example number 2 is 4 times the quantity x minus 3 squared. All right, check out example 3 here. You got 16x squared plus 40x plus 25. If I take 16x squared, square root that, you get 4x. Square root of 25, 5. In between the 16x squared and the 40x is a plus sign, so we'll write that there. Boom, boom, square it. Now let's double check. 4 times 5 gives us 20. 4x times 5 gives us 20x. If we double that, do we get 40? Yes. Boom, we're done. Thanks for playing. Example 4. Let's move on, because we're done with examples 1, 2, and 3. Check it. Whoa, 32x squared, not a perfect square. 2, not a perfect square. However, check it out. 32, 16, and 2 are all even. When we take out a 2, we're left with 2 times the quantity 16x squared minus 8x plus 1. Woo, 16x squared, love it, perfect square. So when I square root that, I'll get 4x. 1 is also a perfect square. So when I square root that, I will get just 1. In between the 16x squared and the 8x is a minus sign, so boom, I'm going to go there. Now let me check this. 4x times negative 1 is negative 4x. If I double that, do I get negative 8x? Yes, I do. So boom, we're going to put a little squared there. But as always, don't forget the GCF. Make sure you write that out in front there. So the correct answer for example 4 is 2 times quantity 4x minus 1 squared. Easy peasy. Just take your time, and you got this. Now, of course, I got 2 examples for you to play on your own. Make sure that you totally have this down. So let's check those guys out. You've got one example. In 5, you got 81x squared plus 90x plus 25. In example 6, you can see it right there on your screen for you. So take your time, hit pause, come on back, and see if you got it right. How did we do, boys and girls? Hopefully, you got 9x plus 5, that quantity squared for example 5. And for example 6, you got 4 times the quantity, 3x minus 5 squared. That's right. Example 6 had a GCF. Hope you saw it. If not, go back and take a look at problems 2 and 4 that had the GCF with it. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hopefully by now you understand how to recognize perfect square trinomials. Thanks for playing, boys and girls. You guys have a good afternoon, great day, good evening, and good night. I'll catch you later. Peace out.